G'day, weebs. I'm back again with episode 6 of the Pharmacy Isekai. Last week was a little bit more involved. We had a little bit of chemistry, a little bit more about talking to patients, things like that. And especially kind of what the role of a pharmacist is in a tournament where necessarily maybe those kinds of drugs probably shouldn't be used because they're performance enhancing. But, you know, regardless, we'll see what this week has in store. I think in the preview for this episode from last week, the customer or the patient looked to be maybe like a blacksmith, something like that. So we'll see if she has any like problems with like her hands, aches and joints, that kind of thing, maybe. Or maybe she just is bad at her job and she needs like something to help her out with putting metal together. I don't know, maybe some glue or something. We'll find out.
ただいまうわなんだ
Oh.
ルー、ノエラさん、そんなにいっぱい力入れたら危ないですよ。みんないっぱい違う。1割の力。なんでドヤ顔なんですか。
Can't say I've ever broke a knife. Damn.
その予備がこの今折ってしまった包丁です。どうするんですか？
That's unfortunate.
今日料理できないですよ。可愛く落ち込んでもダメです。
どうかした？
あ、レイジさん、聞いてください。
Heard everything.
みんな怒る。だって
分かってる分かってる、見てたから。ノエラが包丁落ちまったんだろ。
主、怒る。
包丁の1本や2本じゃ怒らないから。
There is something to be said about when you're interacting with patients. Sometimes giving them the benefit of the doubt. These kind of interpersonal communications obviously depends a lot on who you're talking to and the person, right? But I've found it very useful where sometimes, whether it's to help my cause or otherwise, where I pretend maybe that I haven't heard something or things like that to either make it easier for them to accept my advice, or if I have heard something and they thought I didn't hear it, then I can not blackmail. Blackmail is kind of the wrong word to use it, but show that, you know, I have some better understanding of the circumstances, where I can kind of show them that it will help them more than necessarily they think that it will. Because there have been times where patients have come in for a script, and then when they've found out, like, say, the price, usually it's about price, let's be honest. Say the price or something like that, where it's not agreeable, where it's too much, things like that, and then they start questioning, you know, is it worth the medication, etc., etc. Is it worth the price? Sometimes it helps to have that in your back pocket so you can kind of prod those areas, as it were. Not that you mean to pry or anything like that. Like, I wouldn't intentionally go spying on a patient, for example, but if they're like openly talking in your pharmacy about other things, you obviously shouldn't bring it up, if like invasion of privacy, all that rest of it. But you can frame the conversation in a way where it seems more helpful than it is, right? Where you can allude to certain things. I know this is very vague, and probably a lot of you are probably like, wow, this guy is a criminal. What is he doing? He's invading privacy and all that stuff, right? But that's not what I mean. I don't mean, you know, outing people, blackmailing people, saying, oh, I know you do this, therefore you should take this, etc. But rather framing the way that medications help, that kind of thing, to get because their mind is already primed with that information that they know, that you can kind of frame the conversation so that they can see how it will help them in other circumstances. Especially the most typical one when I said it was about cost is when they're like, oh, is this medicine worth it for me? The most obvious step from that is, well, if you treat it now, it won't get worse later, which means you won't spend as much, going to the hospital, getting it fixed, surgery, etc. So that's the obvious example. There are other circumstances that might be around, but being able to not necessarily withhold information, but or withhold that some information, it can sometimes be useful in being able to frame your further dialogue with the patient, like kind of what he did here, where he's like, I know you broke the knife. I wouldn't get that mad over a knife. But he used it to first gauge their initial reactions first, to then, put his 2 cents in there. So, yeah. Interpersonal communication, life lessons, I suppose.
もうレイジさんすぐ甘やかす。とにかくこのままではお料理ができませんので。
そりゃ俺も困る。
道具屋で包丁を買ってきていただけますか？
I do think, though, that he should have been more harsh on Noila. That was let her off too easy. Just because she's like a werewolf or whatever. Like, she's still human. She's half human, right? That's a werewolf. She turns into a wolf, right? That's the point. So, like, she's still human. She has a brain. She shouldn't be, like, breaking stuff. Anyway.
ま、晩ご飯が作れないのは大問題だからな。
ノエラも一緒。
相変わらず能天気だな、ノエラは。この道でいいのか？
あ、
道具屋だよ。
道具屋？何しに行くか、主。
やっぱり忘れてる。
思い出した。包丁。
どうやらここらしいな。とりあえず入ってみるか。暗いな。
I get how Noila's position is supposed to be like a mascot, but like, surely she could be more productive in her dialogue.
よろけてんじゃん。お、あったあった。こんにちは。包丁買いたいんですけど。包丁買いたい。包丁。
Uh-oh. Is the owner dead? Have we got a murder mystery? Ooh. Classic Japanese salaryman. Just be like, ano, ano. Well, at least she ain't dead.
もしもし。うるさいな。大声出さないでよ。
She needs a super potion stat. Chug that coffee.
の作業が立て込んでて、気がついたら床で寝てたよ。
Super potion, super potion.
もしかして君、噂の錬金術師？
崩しね。
私はポーラ。
He keeps making that distinction. That's really funny.
見ての通り？
Which is true. Like I've discussed it before in a previous one. It's true. I would consider him more of a pharmacist than necessarily an alchemist.
修理で忙しいの？
忙しいよ、もう本当に。君の作ったエナポ夜にいつも飲んでる。助かってるよ。ありがとう。
They're called enopos.
ああ、エナジーポーションのことね。
I'll just call it coffee.
赤猫団の防具の修理が入っちゃって、町の人たちからもいろいろと依頼があるのに。眠。
徹夜でやってるんだ。
この子手に手こずっててね。綺麗かっこいい団長さんのなんだけど。
アナベルさんの？あ、この鉄板折れてるのか。町を守るために盗賊と戦ったり、強盗を捕まえたり、
I don't understand how a pharmacist could possibly help out with this except make more energy potions. Maybe make a super energy potion or something?
ここ
ああ、こりゃ大変だ。どうやって直してる
Or
の？
maybe they need more blacksmiths.
川を継いだり鉄で補修したりだよ。一番厄介なのは鉄がパキンと折れて補修しようとしてもどうにもならないやつね。このコテみたいに買い直してくれるとありがたいんだけど、修理してくれって言うんだよ。こいつに一番時間かかってる。
Gauntlets. This Kendo stuff. What the? I still think.
なんかさ、
Yeah, that's so weird.
すごいものって作れないの？
レイ君ってそんな魔法の道具みたいなもんはできないって。お、つけるつけるつける。あ、できるかもしれない。
Is he actually gonna make like flex tape? Flex tape? Glue?
来い、魔王め、任してやる。血の強いヌヌヌ。会心の一撃、二撃。
いいぞ勇者のエラ。敵には容赦するな。包丁ね。
Isn't that really dangerous to put knives on her head? I guess she's a ghost, so she doesn't care, but like... I guess he's making glue! I mean... I can say I've never really had to make glue before. I've had to make, sticky solutions. Or like, not creams, what's the word?
よし、できた。
Or maybe it is cream. Stuff with coal tar in it. It gets really gloopy. So it gets really hard to mix properly. But yeah, not glue.
ほら、できたぞ。おい、ポーラ。
She needs more people.
これでサクサク治るはずだ。うわ。
I'm also struck by how fast he can make stuff up. Without a formulary or anything. He just kind of does it. Yeah, it's just glue. Ooh, rainbow glue. Super glue, flex tape. It's pretty good, but you know, you should probably strike it with a sword.
超強力接着剤ベトピタン。凄まじい粘着力で物体同士をくっつけ。
Yeah, he made super glue. What a man, what a guy. I wish I was a pharmacist like him.
だろ？よかった。これでアナベルさんも全力で戦える。
これで作業スピードがぐんと上がるよ。ありがとうレイ君。
おいよ。はっ。あ
Uh-oh.
あ。おい、それは。
Uh-oh.
やめとけって。
Uh-oh.
そうね。
しばらく取れないね。こりゃ。
わかったわかったわかったからひとまず帰ろう。っておい。
So super glue obviously isn't as adhesive as this, but even super glue has stuff to kind of fix it. It does take a while though before it stops hurting. I will make that point. Yeah.
まさかノエラ離れない。
Shouldn't have touched it.
取れない。主とくっついた。
キラキラじゃねえよ。
後でお礼に行くからね。
Surely he should get payment for that. That's like a really cool invention.
おかえりなさ
He needs to patent that stuff.
い。なんで
Sell it.
繋いでるんですか？ノエラ、薬で主とくっついた。主、ずっと一緒。ルー。そんなことが？それじゃ
Well, at least one of them is happy.
トイレもベッドもずっと一緒ってことですか？
そうなるな。
お風呂、トイレ、ベッド、一緒。
風呂もだぞ、
Oh
ト
my
イレもだ
gosh.
ぞ、全部見ちゃうんだぞ。オッケーってこと？
She's a kid! She's a werewolf! Doesn't mean anything just because you're a ghost. Come on. I highly doubt he would do anything anyway.
それ考える方がエッチ。みんな一番エッチ。
みんな、何を想像したんだ？
主、エッチなこと。みんなエッチなこと想像した。違います。
ああ、だからか。ダメって言ってるのに一番
ウィーン
エッチなのはみんななのか。ちょっとからかいすぎたかな。
This is very weird. This isn't what I expected. This is not what I needed right now. Ba-da-ba-da.
よーし、できた。
Oh, he did it.
強力剥離剤ダメピタ。凄まじい粘着力を凄まじく軟化させる液体。やだやだ。
I'm actually not sure if there probably is. I actually think there is. Hang on, I'm gonna look it up. Super glue remover. There probably is. Yeah, glue remover. Yeah, or acetone. I was thinking acetone or rubbing alcohol, pretty much. Because that can pretty much get rid of most adhesives because it dissolves the glue. Or the glue dissolves into the acetone. I'm pretty sure. Acetone glue remover. How it works. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Yeah, organic solvent. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. I'm right. So yeah, acetone. So like nail polish remover, same sort of thing. Kind of removes that adhesive between your nail polish and your nail. Or in this case, super glue and your hand. Obviously you don't necessarily need to use it. Friction can sometimes do the job. Or like enough scratching, that kind of thing. That's why nail polish can still come off if you scratch it hard enough. So yeah, acetone. Oh.
ノエラ、俺からはよくわからない薬をホイホイ。聞いちゃいね。
At this point, it's not her fault. He needs to put his stuff in harder to reach places away from her so that she doesn't get the chance to even do it. He's had this conversation with her like 2 or 3 times at this point. I don't understand. I don't really. He needs to. It's on him at this point. She clearly is not understanding it, and if this is inconveniencing him, he needs to be taking responsibility for it. I mean, obviously she should also do that if she were an adult, but clearly right now she has the mentality of like a 6-year-old. So you can't rely on her to be able to take responsibility for her actions. Maybe when she's like 10, you can put a little bit of it on her to be able to know better, but right now she doesn't care. I mean, she was sad that she wasn't stuck to him anymore. We'll put it that way.
ありがとうございました。
Oh, Mr. Mysterious
昨日はひどい目にあ
Man.
ったよな。ああ、いらっしゃいま。
Money. Give me money. Or him money. Me money. Pharmacist money. Pharmacy money. We need money.
このお姉さん。メガネ。青い髪？
I'm surprised he doesn't recognize her, but you know, this is anime, I suppose. Give him money for the glue! Don't just smile at him. He already hasn't been seduced by 3 ladies.
もしかしてボーラ？
そうだよ。何忘れちゃったの？
いや、見違えて。
I mean, that's what stress does to a person.
いや、あれからさ、あと1ヶ月くらいかかりそうかなって思ってた仕事がね、ちゃちゃっと終わっちゃったんだよ。あれのおかげで。
She kind of reminds me of like the trope where like it's the mangaka who's like doing overtime.
こんなにこれじゃ多すぎだよ。
暇な時は任
Nice.
せるから
Yeah, that's good money. Money makes the world go round. And in this case, yeah, the pharmacy needs money to be able to keep getting more stock.
まさか。これから毎日
Or in this case, his case, probably like ingredients and stuff.
一応さ、来ないってわけじゃないんだよ。あの手の人たち。
あの手の人たちって冒険者の人たち？
Well, Kencha.
来るのは来るんだけどね。店の商品を見てすぐに出て行っちゃうんだよね。
Because your shop is dark, lady.
持ってるのが顔に出てんだよ。
It's because it looks like one. You need windows, you know?
いらっしゃったよ。
Spruce up the place.
そんなことないですよ。
ポーラ、なんかおっさんみたいだな。う
どう？この後私と遊ばない？
ちの店員ナンパするのやめろ。
レイジさん、お茶をお出しした方がよろしいですよね。
いいってすぐに帰るんだから。
レイ君、そんなこと言うなよ。
Why is she always here now,
戻
though?
しさ、積もる話もあるじゃんか。
もうないって。毎日来たらそりゃ月もするわ。
She just sounds bored.
いい商品揃えて。
And she's never at her shop to sell stuff.
話し
If she's
続け
been
る
here
のか
every
よ
day.
自由だな。
ちゃんと見たらそれなりの装備ではあるんだよ。よく見ずに出て行っちゃうんだもんな。
ポーラの店って全体的に暗いんだよ。
Exactly.
道具屋っていうよりは
Anyone can see it, even I can see it.
みたいな雰囲気出てる
And I'm not even someone who's like interested in having a pharmacy as a business.
商品ちゃんと磨い
Yeah,
たりしてるん
anyway.
だよ。
I don't know about in the future,
そ
who
のレ
knows.
ベルなのか？どんな磨き方をしてるんだ？
うち来る？来ちゃう？見てみる？
しょうがないな。
You do have a choice, you can always say no.
そうかな。こんなもんだと思うんだけど。
常にここにいるから麻痺してるんだって。だから店に立ち寄った冒険者がすぐに出ていくんだよ。
Open the window.
なあ、そうかな。
It's too bright! It burns! Ah! It's too much for the attacker! Ah!
なんてね。でもちょっとだけ
She really feels like a mangaka
だろ？
in like actual manga or anime set in the modern day where they're all like super stressed out about work and stuff.
ってことはレイ君も手伝ってくれるんだよね。
余計なこと言っちまった。
Nope.
やっぱさ、店員ちゃんいるよね。可愛い子
Yep.
みんな
But that's not his problem. Again, he's overstepping his boundaries at this point, but I can't really blame him. But this is not obviously his job. He doesn't have to do this. So yeah, he's just a nice dude. But yeah.
みんなはダメだ。
じゃあノイラちゃんは？
ノエラもダメだ。
そんじゃ最悪。レイ君でいいよ。
なんであんたが仕方ねえな感を出してんだ。てか、よそからスカウトしろよ。
いないんだよね。可愛い子。
じゃあなんで俺スカウトしたんだ？
盛り上がるね。ティッシュトーク。
どこが？ほら、ちょっと店が広くなったよう
Yeah,
な気がしない？
not his job. Shouldn't have taken it up.
かっこ
But
いい
you know.
よし、この調子で掃除していくぞ。
Don't be yeah.
はあ、また乗せられた。
掃除頑張ろうね。
Too nice a person.
少し黒ずんでる？長い間売れ残ってるから色がくすんでしまったのか。これちゃんと磨いてる？
ちっけえな。ほこりはかぶってないでしょ。週1くらいでちゃんと油つけて磨いてるんだから。
週一かよ。細かい傷が無数に。
He's gonna develop Brasso.
かもしれないのに。
He's gonna develop Brasso.
すれば
He's gonna make Brasso.
どこ行く錬金術師？
錬金術
Are
師
you
じゃねえっ
serious?
て。
If he's gonna make what I think he's gonna make, Brasso, which is like essentially glossy shine polish, yeah, probably. So polishes away small scratches. Yeah, okay. So in metals and things like that, and if you've been in well, for me it was when I was in army cadets, but like military kind of ceremonial stuff. where you had to polish like belt buckles and stuff. Brasso is what essentially it does is it kind of dissolves the metal around the scratch, so then the scratch becomes smooth and you can't see it anymore. And it kind of just polishes it overall. So that's what Brasso is, and that's what I'm pretty sure he made. Yeah, so usually Brasso is made to remove tarnish from like brass, copper, stainless steel, that kind of thing. I think it might be an Australian thing, I'm not sure. Well, maybe it's in America as well. It should be in America. It should be fairly obvious. But yeah, basically it just kind of helps remove scratches, that kind of thing, and remove marks because it acts like a solvent of sorts, and also it's a very fine abrasive. Very, very fine. Like you wouldn't be able to touch it or anything. But yeah, it smooths out scratches, reduces their effect, and basically adds shine. Yeah, so I think that's basically what he made.
よく帰ってきた。掃除はやり出すとハマるからな。
これで商品を磨いてみて。
何
Again, she should like give him money for this. He needs to patent the stuff, honestly. Yeah, he made Brasso. Wow, amazing. So I'm at least glad that all the things that he's making are at least mostly like feasible IRL. How fast someone could really make that is very debatable because you'd have to have some sort of industrial capacity and able to manipulate the chemicals needed to put them in the right concentrations to then create the products. So yeah, but you know, we're in a fantasy wonderland right now, so.
なんとかなったな。
Pay him money! Pay him money! He needs
それから
money.
1週間。
もっとこうさ、冒険者たちが町に来るようにしないとね。せっかく店が綺麗になったのに、冒険者が来やしね。
ああ、そうっすか。
もともとこの町、冒険者が来ないんだよ。
ま、もともと
This is kind of the thing, like a guild of shopkeepers would probably be best.
やっぱさ、ダンジョン作ろう。
They could all get together and make, you know, advertising and that kind of
なんだと
thing.
思ってんだ。
I mean, like, in real life, pharmacists have a guild for all the pharmacies. So, like, they have their own sort of advocating body. There's a few advocating bodies for pharmacists, actually. At least in Australia. I don't know if it's the same in other countries. I would assume it's fairly similar. But, yeah, in Australia, there's a couple bodies. There's the Pharmacy Guild of Australia, like I mentioned. Generally, they advocate for pharmacy owners who are also pharmacists, because you have to be a pharmacist to own a pharmacy. So they generally advocate on more that side. There's the Society of Hospital Pharmacists Australia that advocate obviously for the hospital pharmacists. And then there's PSA, or the Pharmaceutical Society of Australia, which advocates generally on the best interests for all pharmacists. There's a few others around. There's Professional Pharmacists Australia as well, which is more about the employee pharmacist. So they're a little bit more about, you know, working conditions and things like that. So there's a whole bunch. I'm part of a few of those as like they help out with kind of like continuing practice, accreditation, things like that, or development. Continuing professional development is the actual like official term for it, where like I get the Australian Pharmacist every month, for example, which has like articles and things like that that are pretty interesting, so I keep up to date with that. And yeah, they'll have like modules and trainings online for me to be able to complete my CPD. So yeah, this kind of issue where they might not be getting enough business or things like that, or they're facing business troubles, this is where obviously like a guild or an association would help, where they can pull together all their resources to be able to better serve their members, which is what organizations and bodies like the PSA, Guild, PPA generally try to do, just for varying different populations of pharmacists. So yeah, yeah.
あー今こいつめんどくさいやつだなってレイ君思ったでしょ
Yes, you are Mendoxe.
今ってだから
え
ちょっとウケる。冗談だから。まあまあ冒険者が来たらきっと売れるから。
そうだね
おろろ。今後はこの手のからかい方は控えるか。
I mean, she's a tool shop, so she can make knives and stuff. It doesn't have to be like swords and armor and
思
stuff.
ってない。
嘘ヒーロー思ったレイ君
思ってないってもうめんどくさい。
Ah, that's
ド
it.
ラッグ。
Yeah, this particular episode's not exactly heavy on the pharmacy talk. Like I thought, it was more about fantasy type stuff. Ooh. Energy pots for the Demon King. Get him his coffee, his bus coffee.
相変わらず犯罪的なうまさ。一本だけなのか。二本買ってこいと命令したはずだ。
魔王様、実は最近魔王様があまりに
Uh-oh. They have side effects that cause addiction. Oh no. It really is like coffee.
薬は薬、どんな副作用があるかもわかりませんし、まして中毒にでもなりました。
関係ない。
Whoa, okay. Whoa, so we just came across something very big here.
しゃるので
だけなのか。二本買ってこいと命令したはずだ。
ま
Alright, so the truth is, you seem to be hooked on these energy potions lately.
実は最近魔王様があまりにこのエナジーポーションにハマっていらっしゃるので、少々
I'm concerned you're drinking too many.
飲みすぎ。
その薬は
I mean, it's a medicine. We don't know what side effects it could have if you became addicted. So, this is actually pretty heavy. It is a pretty big issue that we have with some patients where sometimes they think all the medicine can do is good, and they just take it willy-nilly without really thinking about its uses and kind of what potentially could happen if they continue using a medication. Like I've said before during the series, medicines are not meant to be used for any longer than they have to be. Obviously, sometimes that does mean for life, but most of the time it means that they should be stopped when it is safe to stop and the disease or illness or condition has resolved. And I've obviously made this abundantly clear since episode 1. This particular energy potion does not seem to have any side effects, apart from everyone thinking that it's delicious and gives them heaps of energy. There has to be some sort of kind of side effect is one way of saying it, but like way of recouping that cost. Like even paracetamol, if you take too much of it, will mess up your liver. These medicines are only medicines because they are poisons in the wrong doses. They only heal in the right doses. So this kind of portrayal of an energy potion that has been made where people who take it don't seem to suffer anything as a cause of overdosing on it, there doesn't seem to be an overdose or anything like that, does not seem to be very like realistic. Even coffee, energy drinks have some sort of cost to them if you take too much of it. Coffee, for example, if you keep taking it over and over again, will cause you to eventually become addicted, sort of, where you can't function normally because of that caffeine, unless you have that caffeine, even. So yeah, this type of reaction from this attendant, totally warranted. Just because we haven't seen it in other people doesn't mean it can't happen to you. So it's obviously worth... That's why we have these clinical studies on these drugs before they're put onto market, is to make sure that we know about these side effects, and we know we know what the safe dose is, and we know what the intended effects are, and we know approximately what can happen if things go wrong. So those are predictable, and we can account for those, and we can very easily and justly weigh the benefits and the costs to using any such medication.
があるかもわかりませんし、まして中毒にでもなりました。
関係ない
Obviously, this guy doesn't care because he's the demon lord or demon king.
魔王エジル様の命令を無視したなお前金庫3日えへ連れて行け
魔王様ご勘弁を
こうなったらこうなったらこの
Man, he's really tiny,
洗脳に
right?
してここなる魔界の覇者魔王エジル様が自らもらいに行くしかない
Ooh, we're gonna get a showdown. Anyway, so that brings us to the end. As always, if you've liked this content, I've got more on the previous episodes on my channel in the handy playlist. If you want to know more about things in Japan, that kind of thing, I do also have a foreigner's guide to Comiket in Japan, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you like anime and manga, right? So that will probably interest you. As always, leave a like, subscribe. If you have any comments or if you have any questions about anything that I've mentioned here, do let me know in the comments. I'll try and get to them as soon as I can and maybe provide a little bit more context behind what I've said here today. But otherwise, I think that's pretty good, and I will see you next week for the next episode. Catch you next time.